Hello, and welcome to our Sustainability Shorts series as part of Climate Week NYC, bringing together the best and the brightest for a conversation on solutions to the climate crisis. Today, we are so pleased to be joined by Humayun Tai, Senior Partner, McKinsey Company, as well as leader of McKinsey's Global Energy and Materials Practice. So pleased to have you join us today. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you, Angela. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, wonderful. Well, let's just go ahead and jump right into all these wonderful questions. First
Let's
and
do it.
foremost, yeah, it's awesome. Leadership on climate has changed so much in recent years, but we're still falling behind on targets. How do you think climate leaders need to change, and how is McKinsey really thinking about this?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of discussion around are we falling behind? When you look at the targets, it's pretty aggressive what we need to get to. I would say that climate is really at the front of the agenda, I think, for many of our leaders, many of our clients across institutions. But there is a distinction. I think for climate leaders that are reacting and thinking in the short term, and we do see some of that, those companies and those organizations are going to fall short because they're trying to get to sort of making the next thing or ensuring basically that their value propositions are clear in the short term. What we see other climate leaders do, and the ones that are more successful, are the ones that are thinking about this from a holistic standpoint and really thinking about systematically how do they change their business in the long term, which means fundamentally thinking about every piece of the value chain you're in for whatever business you're in, and how do you reformulate that with net zero at the center. And I think those businesses, those climate leaders, are the ones that are going to thrive.
No, absolutely. You know, 2022 has just presented us with so many complex but connected challenges, right? So, not just meeting those goals, but looking at food, energy, commodities, supply chains. How are you seeing companies navigate these while still keeping climate action a top priority, like you say?
Yeah, I mean, Angela, it's crazy if you think about the things going on. You mentioned a few. The Ukraine Russia thing obviously is it's changed a lot of things in life. If you think about the macro environment with it's not just inflation and interest rates, but it's supply chain and all the pains that many of us as even consumers of things are feeling. And then you say, well, there's this big climate agenda we need to go after, and are we focused on the right thing when basic things in life are being challenged? And what's really interesting is when I think through a lot of the work that we're doing and the discussions we're having with clients, I would really say there are three sorts of things I see. The first is they're actually a group of clients, and many actually, that are really saying that all of these macro issues are causing us to accelerate our path to net zero. So, for example, if you look what's happening in Europe with the recommitment and doubling of the green energy targets, there's a lot more that's going to happen a lot faster. That's the intention. Then there are a number of companies that say, look, we are these are short-term disruptions. We've got to keep our eye on the long-term target of net zero, and let's continue to keep pushing. And you see this reflected in how voluntary carbon credits are coming to the market. You see this in CPG companies that are continuing to maintain their commitments, or financial sector companies. And then you have a third group that is a bit skeptical, a bit worried that short term supply chain changes and affordability, really the cost of everything increasing, is going to compromise or is going to make it more challenging to get to net zero. I would say generally the first two buckets are probably 70%, 80% of the conversations we have. So overall, when I step back from it, I feel like the momentum is still there, it's still continuing. And at the very least, whereas climate was not at the center of the discussion 5 years ago, even in this point of transition, it still is. And it's a question of how fast do we get there. So I'm encouraged by that actually.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think such an important time for us to be doing this. And of course, we don't do this alone. So, how are you collaborating with other organizations as part of your work to support climate action? It's just so critical for us to work together right now.
No, you're absolutely right, Angela. I mean, these getting to the 1.5 degree, this really daunting challenge where we have to accelerate everything, really requires all of us to work together. It's really about ecosystem building. If you think about things like hydrogen and CCUS and other technologies, no individual company or technology can solve it. So we've got to come together to do that. And so we are, as McKinsey, doing a ton of investment into in capability building with our alliance partners, and doing strategic partnerships. For example, the Mission Possible partnership that the World Economic Forum and RMI have put together, and others as well. We're a knowledge partner for that, and for us that's really important because in that case we are contributing our knowledge, proprietary research to figuring out how do we abate the seven toughest industries and decarbonize them. And that's McKinsey knowledge coming in. But we couldn't do it without those other partners. Another example is Frontier, which is a advanced market commitment that we've done with Stripe, Meta, Alphabet. And basically, the idea here is we're putting $925 million together to build an ecosystem around carbon removal. And as you know, one of the big challenges is without a real clear pricing on carbon, you've got demand and supply in a chicken and egg situation. So could you actually put some resourcing and match that from carbon origination to demand? And that's the intention. Again, that's an example of where it just takes a whole ecosystem built by a number of partners to get that together. But there are many other things we're doing individually with other clients within their partnerships. But our clear recognition is as we really push the sustainability theme within McKinsey and outside McKinsey, is that we need a lot more partnering and alliance building to make this happen.
Amazing work, and thank you so much, Mayan. We always love speaking with you and your colleagues at McKinsey Sustainability. So we're so pleased to have you be able to join us today. Everyone, make sure to join us at Climate Week NYC this September 19th through the 25th to hear more from McKinsey's sustainability and other amazing climate leaders. Thank you again, Humayun.
Thank you so much, Angela. Great talking to you.
Great chatting with you.